other channels. So good morning, folks. Welcome. We're now live on all our channels, which is fantastic. I haven't been live for a while. For those of you who have missed me, I'm back. And we're just going to go live on our other channels now as well. I'm hitting all the buttons here. With Instagram, you don't automatically go live. You actually have to hit the live button to go live. So that's why it takes a few minutes. So, well done, reply. Thanks a lot, Dan. So, one of the big challenges at this time of year is the amount of children who are going crazy because of exams and because they're dyslexic or ADHD. Because you may think they've got support during the year. You may think that your child has been taking our class for 1 or 2 hours a week at a time, and you think that's enough. And if you do think that's enough, then I would recommend you switch off now, because you're not living on the same planet as the majority of people. Because being dyslexic is absolutely madness. It's one of those things that can drive you crazy, right? It can drive you crazy if you're getting no real support. And I use the word real on purpose, because you're not getting any real support when you're dyslexic. Then you're falling behind every day. And it's like capital interest, or compound interest. If you remember your compound interest from school, what they used to tell you? That today it'd be 10% of one, is 10% of one is which is 0.1. Then tomorrow it'd be 10% of 1.1. Next day it'd be 10% of what that result is, and the compound effect keeps growing. Well, the compound effect of not helping someone who's dyslexic keeps going. I still hear people, and it drives me nuts, still hear people who are teaching people using phonics. And teachers cannot get it through their head that being dyslexic is a different way of learning. You're a visual learner. And I think the problem is a lot of people don't understand what a visual learner is. They don't understand the word visual. Teachers think they can teach everyone in the same way and get the same results. That does not happen, right? It does not happen. And that's why this time of the year, parents suddenly wake up. You have the junior cert, or even worse, the leaving cert, coming up like a train going down the tracks. And they realize that their son or daughter, their maths ain't great, their English ain't great, their reading ain't great, maybe the comprehension ain't great, and maybe they've been led all along the year by their teachers to believe that their maths and English and all is great and they'll do okay, they'll do grand. But they won't. They won't. If they scrape through, that's a failure on your part as a parent if your child only scrapes through, because you haven't put in place the tools they need to help them. Being taken out of a class for 1 hour a day a week, or maybe 1 hour a day every couple of days, is just so soul destroying for children. Can you imagine in your workplace that if every day your boss called you out of your environment and said in front of everybody else, you're going to your special class today? So just think there now for a second. You're working there with all your friends in your office, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 50 people. You're working there with your friends. And every day for 1 hour, someone comes along and says, because you're special, we're bringing you to a learning support environment. How would you feel? How would you feel? Now, can you imagine being 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, and that's happening? It's completely horrendous that in this world we're still doing this. And in this time, we're still calling all these new schools special schools and special classes, which is absolutely ridiculous. It really is. What teachers need to understand is people who are dyslexic, children who are dyslexic, learn visually. They don't learn by phonics. So dump your phonics. If your son or daughter has been taught phonics at the moment and you've any inclination they're dyslexic or dyspraxic or ADHD, write a note now, get a piece of paper, write a note to the teacher. I do not want my child taught phonics. If you could do that today, that'd be one of the biggest things you've done this year for your child. Write the piece of paper saying, I do not want my child doing phonics ever again. And your child will start to sleep better because they won't feel stupid when they don't understand why these phonics are being pushed into them that they don't understand because they're a visual learner. And I'm amazed. The teachers train for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and they'll tell you themselves they get half-day training in dyslexia and dyspraxia and no training in ADHD. And yet, they reckon, according to all research all over the world, 10% of everyone in the world is dyslexic. 10% of everyone in the world is also dyscalculia. And then 10% is ADHD. So teachers are going to have at least 30% of their class that will learn different than neurotypical children. And they're not trained on it. That's like getting a mechanic and training a mechanic for a whole year or 2 years or 3 years during their apprentice and never train them how to change the oil. Think about it now. Or someone doing an electric apprenticeship and doing it for 3 or 4 years, but during that time, never teaching them how to change a plug. Right? That's what leaving out that piece of education in that training. So really, teachers are not fully trained to teach your child if they're dyslexic, dyspraxic, or ADHD, or dyscalculia. They haven't got the skill set to do it. And many of them will tell you they haven't got the skill set. And you'd imagine where all these teacher training days, that to be super trained, but they're not. And sadly, for a lot of schools, the more children who are diagnosed as dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, the principal is more interested in getting the extra resources and extra teachers into their school, seemingly to help those children. But that's not what they need to do. They need to change how they teach them. They don't need to be brought out of a class once or twice a week for an hour at a time during maybe a subject they love. And all their friends see they have to leave. Right? That in itself is a form of bullying and a form of intimidation. So do yourself a favor at this time of the year. If you don't need to have your child assessed for dyslexia, ADHD, or dyspraxia, or dyscalculia. You'll know if they're having challenges. You'll know they're struggling. And you will probably know what it is because you may be dyslexic yourself, or dyspraxia, or dyscalculia, but you've never been diagnosed because you come from an era like me when it wasn't the thing to do. And that's why an awful lot of people now are getting diagnosed in their 40s, especially an awful lot of women are getting diagnosed as ADHD in their 40s. And I mean, a lot of them who have got diagnosed only because that child has got diagnosed and they suddenly realize, well, hey, a lot of this is hereditary. So maybe I am. Maybe that's why I've been struggling with a lot of things over the last number of years. And they go and get diagnosed and they realize they have been ADHD or they have been dyslexic all their lives. So do yourself a favor. Reach out to someone and find help. You don't have to reach out to us at the Paragraph Challenge. Even though we've been doing this for 21 years and Anne-Marie has been doing one-to-one courses for people who are dyslexic, dyscalculia, dyspraxic, and ADHD on our 5-day core program, online or in person, for the last 20 years, you can reach out to someone else. But if you're not going to reach out to us at theparagraphchallenge.com, reach out to someone. Get someone to help you and your child. Don't let them struggle at this time of the year when all the exams are coming up. And if they're going into transition year or they're going into fifth year and the leaving cert is coming down the tracks like the fast train on the Belfast, you need to get them real support. And I keep saying to people, dyslexia is a gift. It is a gift. But you need to give them the tools to unpackage that gift. I always say it's like when you receive a parcel from Amazon or you receive a birthday gift. You have to open it to know what's in it. You have to open it to know what's in it. So you have to have the tools to open that package and make it work for you. And we can help you with that. At theparagraphchallenge.com, as I said, we'll be doing this for 20 years plus. Anne-Marie's been helping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of individuals. Her youngest client was 4, her oldest was 84. With her 5-day program and her other programs that she does, especially tailor-made for people who are struggling and who need help. But if you're not going to come to us, find someone that can help your child, especially if they're going into 5th year. Because when they're going into 5th year, they really worry about what's going to happen to them when the leaving cert is coming. They can easily visualize themselves failing. They can visualize the struggle. The anxiety is going through the roof. They're suddenly getting maths books and questions that they haven't been able to do for a long time, and now they've been told, if you don't do well in the leaving cert, that's it. Because there's so much pressure on for the leaving cert. So now is the time to find help. And as I said, if you don't find it from us, find it from someone. Your child needs the tools to open that gift to make it work for them. Whether it's the dyscalculia, which is all about maths. Remember, the challenge in maths is if you don't have the fundamentals of maths, and maybe you didn't get the fundamentals because the way you've been taught in school didn't suit you as a visual learner or didn't suit your child. So your child has lost the grounding and the basics of algebra, of maths, and all the theorems and all the questions. They don't understand the basics of it. And it's like you're building a house. If you don't get the foundations right, the house will fall down. So they're so far along that they can't understand now why they can't do the maths questions that maybe half of the class can. They can't understand that no matter how hard they study, and they do study, and they do work, and they do try very hard, but they cannot understand where all that work, all that effort, nothing is happening. Nothing's changing. Nothing is changing. And you may be sitting there wondering why nothing is changing, and you're tearing your hair out why nothing is working for your child. And basically it's because they have this gift, which at the moment is a curse. It's a curse at the moment. But you can change that curse and make that curse into a gift. You have it within your hands to do it. Whether it's using us, as I said, the Paragraph Challenge, who've been doing this for over 20 years, or you find someone else to help you. But you need to find someone to turn that curse into a gift. I'm Mark Beggs. Thanks so much for joining me this morning. If you need any more information, just go on to theparagraphchallenge.com. And if you want to see any of our YouTube videos, just go on to YouTube, and our handle there is @MindsEyeEducation. So I do hope you will come and make contact with us. You'll see our website there is on the end of our ticker box there on our channel. So the paragraphchallenge.com. So if you need help, if your child needs help and they're struggling, and as I said, whether it's us at the Paragraph Challenge or someone else, turn that curse into a gift. You have the ability to do that. But you have to take real action to make it happen. So make it happen. That's important. So I'm going to go off on my other channels now. So everybody on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Thanks so much for listening this morning. I do appreciate it. We'll be back probably on today is after bank holiday is Tuesday. Thank God it's not Monday. Monday's gone. So probably back on Thursday. Thanks so much for joining me this morning. We really appreciate it. And we're gone.